Hello, and welcome to Today I'm going to be going over Escape from Tarkov and some tough love that I want to give you guys, which will hopefully help you improve at the game. So if you enjoy the video, definitely make sure to drop a sub and leave a like, as well as a comment down below just saying what your favorite part of the video was. Today we're talking about loot runs, what the best loot run is, all that good stuff, or if there is one. A little bit of a spoiler alert there, let's hop right into it. So when it comes to loot runs, I just want to get this part out of the way first. So why do people need loot runs? The simple answer, the two-worded answer is you suck. Now what do I mean by that? Let me elaborate a little bit. And this is something that other YouTubers won't tell you, and we'll talk about that first. So why won't other people tell you this? Other people won't tell you this because loot run content gets them views, gets them likes, gets them shares, gets them community-driven feedback to their videos, which helps their channel grow. Me, on the other hand, I don't get views, so it doesn't really matter all that much to me. But why do you need loot runs only if you suck? And the reason for that is, why do you search up videos on loot runs? You don't do it because you're rich and you're having fun at the game and you have all the gear you could possibly need and you've completed all your quests. You search up those videos because you're struggling and you need help and you're broke and you're stuck running Mosins and you're stuck running revolvers and double barrel shotguns and you just want to get some more rubles in your stash. Why? There's a further reason back to it than that, which is, like I mentioned, you suck. So I'm willing to bet that most people who are watching videos about loot runs and that kind of thing don't have a survival rate over 50%. I'm going to be completely honest, neither do I. And that's perfectly okay. There's nothing wrong with that. The first stage to getting richer, getting better at the game, is admitting that there's a problem. So if you're going into raid and you're dying more than you're surviving, obviously you're going to end up broke. And that kind of segues into my next point, is that loot runs won't actually help you improve at the game. So, you know, you can go and do all the loot runs you want throughout the day. You can go and do 30 of them on customs. You can go do 30 of them on interchange, 30 of them on reserve, wherever you want to go. And at the end of the day, it's not going to get you any better at combat. It might even get you worse, considering now all you do is avoid combat because you have a bunch of stuff on you that you want to get out with. It's not going to help you in those situations where you have to, say, go to factory for a quest, or you have to kill PMCs for a quest, or something like that, right? It doesn't actually get you set up into a better spot in the game. Sure, you could argue that the money will help you get there, but you also get money from killing players. You get a lot more money, arguably, from killing players, especially if they've already looted other areas, and you can profit off that. My third point here is that loot runs on their own, by their own nature, are a temporary fix to the issue. So obviously the issue, once again, is you suck. That's why you're watching videos like this. You're not very good at the game. You're not confident in fights. Loot runs aren't going to fix that. Loot runs are going to make you rich, which sure might help you get better gear, but fundamentally, if you're not confident and not comfortable and not proficient in firefights, you can run a fully meta HK, you can run, you know, class 6 armor, class 5 helmet, whatever you want, and you're still gonna get messed up badly in the first firefight that you get into against an experienced player who's put time and effort into improving in the combat of the game. So, you know, in most loot runs that you're doing on maps as well, you aren't even fighting scavs. Like, I know if you're doing loot runs on interchange, you maybe fight 3 scavs on the entire run. If you're doing the outside stash runs, which is something I used to do quite a bit, actually, and it's very good money. But, you know, it doesn't really get you any further in the game. So the next point that I want to make is that loot runs are very, very boring. And this is coming from first-hand experience of having run loot runs myself, of course. You literally load into the map, you avoid all combat, scavs, or players, and you just run from stash to stash, you run from building to building, whatever it might be. A lot of times you don't even have a good gun, you just bring something good enough to fight off scavs, that's it. And you just run, you collect as much stuff as you can, put it in as many orifices as you can, and then just get out. Like, that is about as boring as the gameplay in Escape from Tarkov can ever get, which is going to result in you feeling burnt out. It's going to result in frustration once you take all those hard-earned rubles and put them into a kit, and then you go into factory, you go into customs, you go into reserve, you go into lighthouse, and you just get messed up immediately by someone who knows what they're doing, while you've been the whole time avoiding scavs and players on your loot runs. And the final point I want to make is there's no room for growth with loot runs. And what do I mean by that? So you can do as many loot runs as you want, you can get as rich as you want, that's not going to help you improve. And I've already kind of touched on this a little bit. It's not going to get you better at gun skills, it's not going to get you better game sense, it's not going to get you better at any of that stuff fundamentally, apart from memorizing where the stashes are and your search skill in game. That's all you're going to be growing. You're not even going to be growing your map knowledge to some extent, because a lot of times when people are doing loot runs, they're literally just running between stashes that they have on their second monitor, a pre-loaded map, you know, one of those interactive maps. Map Genie, I think, is one of them. I'm not taking a shot at them, it's an incredible tool, but you know, like, there's just so much of the game that you're glossing over and so much that you're missing. And something I seen in a video recently actually is, you know, Escape from Tarkov isn't going to be here forever. Why don't we enjoy it while it is? So if you spend all your time now just running between stashes, and a year down the line the servers go offline for Escape from Tarkov and we can't play it anymore, you're probably going to regret that. You're going to wish that you spent a bit more time fighting, learning the game, learning the maps, having those fun experiences, especially when people look back at it nostalgically. And that's what they remember, right? You're not going to remember how many cans of Tushonka you got from, you know, somebody's stash buried out in the woods. You're going to remember the firefights that you got into, the squads that you wiped, that kind of thing. And I get it, right? Like, it's a confidence thing for most people. It's something people need to get better at. So how do you do that?
I don't really have anything. Oh, Jesus.
The way that you do that is by practicing. This is something I need to work on myself as well. Escape from Tarkov is a very odd game in the way that, you know, you have a lot at play. You have movement inertia, you have recoil, you have ADS speed, you have sound, you have all that stuff at play in any sort of gunfight, any sort of interaction. And it is very hard to get used to, especially for a beginning player, especially if you're coming over from something a little bit more casual, like maybe CSGO, Call of Duty especially, you know, something like that, right? So the way you'd get better is by loading into, say, for example, an offline raid on factory with a bolt-action rifle or a revolver or a double barrel, something that's not high tier. And the reason you want that, especially when you're using a bolt-action rifle, and one of my personal favorites is the VPO because of the iron sights, when you're using a weapon like that, you have to focus more on your gameplay, you have to focus more on your decision making, and especially your aim. And the reason you'd want to use, you know, lower tier weapons like that is so that you're not just full autoing down every single scav. You're not full autoing down every single target that you see. In Escape from Tarkov, precision, patience, and, you know, just overall accuracy is going to play a lot further than whoever can spray down first. So getting better at that is insanely important for any sort of gunfight. If you can put rounds on target first, much the same as in real life, you're probably going to win that fight. You know, you have aim punching, you can black out their arms if you're aiming center mass, you can take out their legs if you're aiming for, you know, leg meta, that kind of thing. So putting rounds on target first is crucial. Spotting your target first is crucial. Running around in a offline raid with as much AI as your computer can possibly handle is going to help you improve immensely. And I would argue that spending 30 minutes doing that each day, as opposed to doing 30 minutes or even 10 minutes, 20 minutes of loot runs, is going to get you far further in the game. And in the end, it's going to be something that you remember a lot more. And these skills are going to transfer over to other games, whatever it might be you're playing after, whether it's a new Call of Duty, CSGO, Valorant, Paladins, whatever you might be playing. Those skills are transferable, where running around and looting crates out in the bush like a homeless dude, that's not a transferable skill, right? Like, you might as well go play DayZ at that point, you know what I'm saying? So I would highly recommend just putting in a bit more practice. Don't worry about loot runs. Don't look up videos on, what the best loot strategy is. Don't look up the best map for making money. Don't look up this, don't look up that. The map I would recommend, and this is from an objective standpoint, is Factory. Factory by far is the best map, objectively, not subjectively, and you can feel free to argue with me in the comments on this, but again, it's objective, so you're going to be wrong, is Factory. So Factory is amazing because it's small. You can hear pretty much the whole damn map, regardless of where you are. There's plenty of extraction points. It's easy to learn. It runs very well regardless of what your system specs are, pretty much. And Factory has all these nooks and crannies that you're going to have to get used to CQC, or CQB? Yeah, CQB. And you also have opportunities to practice at medium to longer range as well. Have different levels. You're going to learn the audio very well. You're going to learn map traversal very well. You're going to learn the map itself very well. Not to mention, Factory is amazing for quests like Stirrup, for example. There is some decent loot on there too, so you'll learn your loot runs and stuff like that. You can farm scavs very easily. Running it even as a player scav is a good idea if you want to run other maps as your PMC to get quests done, that kind of thing. Because the bonus to that too is if you're using a bolt-action rifle, you still have the potential to one-shot pretty much any level of gear player in the game, and I have videos where I've done that to prove that. And it focuses your playstyle more on making smart decisions as opposed to running in and whoever can auto first wins the battle, right? So play smart, learn the game, learn the maps. You'll do far, far better than spending that same amount of time running around, gathering, scrounging around for loot, right? So that's what I have to say for you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next time.